Welcome back to the channel, Black is One, where the agenda is to assist with the unification of all people of African ancestry, black people, everywhere. In this video, I'll be talking about reparations. Reparations. People have been engaging me on this subject. It is something that I have on my timetable, but I haven't reached it as yet. But I think based on some of the conversation that I've been having, I have to bring it forward and address it briefly. Now, some people are for it, others are against it. I understand why the Europeans would be against it. They don't want to pay. Correction. They don't want to pay us because they have paid other people in the past. But when it comes to us, they dig up all sorts of weird and desperate logic to avoid having to pay. But all this going around in circle does is delay the inevitable. Reparations are a must. If it takes 500 years, it will have to be paid. One day, when the human family would have evolved to the point where they value life and happiness and justice and peace over power and greed. When that time comes, they will realize and acknowledge that no happiness, no justice, no peace, no meaningful life can be sustained on this earth until the debt this world owes to black people is paid. One day, these rich and powerful nations, with all their wealth and power, will become the scorn of the human race until they have paid for their sins against us. You may ask the question, why am I so certain? Why am I so sure? Well, I am 100% sure that reparations will be paid because I believe in a better future. But for now, the debate is ongoing. And like I said, I didn't understand why a potential beneficiary of reparations, that is, a black person, would be against it. In this video, I'm going to deal with one of the things that I have discovered that caused some of us not to support reparations, and I'll give you my commentary. One of the reasons I discover why some black people don't support reparations is because there's a general misunderstanding of what reparation is. No disrespect, but there are some persons who I thought would have understood what reparation is that don't understand what reparation is. On the side of those who owe us reparation, the word is being perverted. There's a negative narrative being constructed around it. Reparations was a noble and honorable thing when paid by Germany to the Jews, for example, or when the United States in 1988 paid reparations to the Japanese. But as soon as it is our turn to receive ours, the word is being redefined to mean something trivial, almost derogatory. All of a sudden, reparations mean handout. So demanding reparation is being compared to begging, asking for handout, looking for easy money, that kind of stuff. No dignified human being likes to depend on the sympathy of others for their livelihood. No dignified human being like to feel like a beggar. Decent people like to earn their bread. So if reparations are being put in the same category as handout, no wonder why some black people don't want to have anything to do with it. Well, I'm going to explain the difference between the two, between reparations and handout. Reparations is repaying or compensating for damages. It is redress, meaning a payment to someone in order to fix or repair or remedy an unfair or unjust situation. So you did someone injustice and you are required to pay in an effort to restore to the person what they lost or what they suffered. Handout, on the other hand, is charity. It is something you give to people in misfortune out of your good conscience because you're in sympathy with them. You're sorry for them. Handout is what you give to the homeless or victims of fire or natural disasters. Those who receive handouts are not entitled to it. You don't owe them anything. You didn't do them anything. You simply gave out of compassion. That is what handout is. If I'm building a hotel and you sell me faulty cement and I spend my money and buy other building material and pay a contractor to have my hotel built and it collapses in a year, killing 100 people, for example, the cement company owes me for damages. I am entitled to redress, to compensation. If I am found guilty in a court of law and sentenced to life in prison, then 20 years later, new evidence proved that I was innocent. I have suffered injustice. I have suffered loss. My life was destroyed because of that experience. The government owes me compensation. I am entitled. What the government owes me is not handout. It's not free money. It's not charity. You cannot steal my fleet of cars, like 100 cars. You sell some. Use some to run your transport business. And when the law catches up with you, you want to return some, like 5, and call it a gift or handout. Europe and the United States have enslaved our ancestors, used their labor without pay, under the most draconian and cruel conditions in the history of mankind, to build their countries. And when they were finished with slavery, they were still not finished with us. They returned to Africa, this time with machine guns, and took all the lands and the labor of the people, looted and plundered their gold and copper, manganese, cobalt, crude oil, timber, nickel, diamond, gold, you name it, and send it to their country. The Africans could not develop their own continent. Africa is impoverished because Europe stole its resources to develop Europe. The countries in Africa to this day have been pushed so far behind Europe and America that one American president called them shithole countries. The actions that led to and contributed to those countries and their populations being in the state that they are, those actions were done by Europe and America. Not individuals in Europe and America, but by governments in Europe and America. So to pay for those years of exploitation is not a handout. It is called paying for damages. It is called righting a wrong. It is called redress. It is called compensation. It is returning or redistributing ill-gotten wealth. It is called reparations. Black people, reparations is not handout. Handout is something people give you because you meet upon misfortune. You come upon hard times and they are sorry for you. Handout is what you give to the homeless or victims of fire, like I said. Reparations is compensation, redress. You loot my property, enrich yourself and your family for years, vandalize my estate, and set it on fire, not because of anything that I did to you. In that scenario, basic justice, I'm not talking about international law now. I'm not talking about anything complex. I'm talking about basic justice entitles me in that scenario to redress. That is reparations. And I'll leave it right here for this one. Remember to subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications so you're notified when I upload a new video. Share the videos and leave me a comment. Until the next one, remember to love black people. Remember to care for each other. Let us make it black culture. Black is one. Live the revolution. One love.